Welcome to the New to Wrestling podcast, where I, your host, Xavier Cruz, a lifelong wrestling fan, will take a lifelong friend through the action, the joys, and the drama of the world of professional wrestling. My co-host, Kelsey Silva, has been bitten by the wrestling bug, and I want to invite you to join us as I take her through the moments that made me a fan. So if you're new to wrestling and would like to get brought up to speed, or a fan who would like to relive some classic matches, promos, and segments through fresh eyes, join us as we embark on a journey through the Attitude Era and beyond. Welcome to the New to Wrestling podcast. Hello, and welcome to another edition of the New to Wrestling podcast. My name is Xavier Cruz. I'm joined, as always, by our co-host, Kelsey Silva. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well. So we just finished watching the July 22nd, 1996 episode of Monday Night Raw. This episode is immediately following the International Incident pay-per-view that we just watched on the last episode. And this one was at a violent clip. It was a lot happening. So as far as the show card goes, we had The Goon versus Mark Miro. We had Freddie Joe Floyd versus Mankind. We had Goldust with Marlena versus Barry Horowitz. And we had the tag team championships on the line. The Smoking Guns were defending against Shawn Michaels and Ahmed Johnson. Let's just get into it.
There was a lot.
So from the jump, we have this little like birthday kind of segment where we have Sunny coming down the ramp with a birthday cake like for Shawn Michaels.
That Stop and Shop sheet cake with the icing balloons.
It would just look
unbelievable.
The most generic. So she rolls it down. Shawn Michaels comes, does his little like entrance. He's like, "Is this for me?" Like acting all like surprised. They have a little bit of a back and forth. Sunny obviously ends up wearing the cake. And Shawn Michaels then gets his little 2 cents, his little on Sunny once again. Which weird. I mean, I guess happy birthday to him.
Which, by the way, that means Shawn Michaels is a Leo, which explains everything about him. Like everything made sense to me after that. Click, 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 right into place in my brain.
100%. For those of you watching at home, Kelsey is also a Leo. So
yes. So we're all about the drama, girl. Okay, the costumes, the lighting, the pyrotechnics. We're all about it.
So if anybody was confused, if anybody is gonna know best, it's going to be
You never
Kelsey.
will be from now on. You will now know.
No, 100%.
Put it in the memory banks, in your mental Rolodex.
100%. You'll never forget me. Which I thought we were gonna just get right into the match, but we ended up just having just kind of a slip and slide of like icing kind of all over the place. Something apparently happened with Billy Gunn, where they had to like push the match like later. I think it was more just to like have the segment in the beginning and then allow them to get clean so that they could actually wrestle like later on, which is, it's fine. So that's how the night started. And then we get into the first match, which is The Goon versus Mark Miro. And The Goon is literally just a hockey player. Like he's wrestling in like what looks like full hocky pads.
Yes.
Like he had the,
which seems unfair. I'm not gonna lie. Like, why does he get pads?
That's what I'm saying. Nobody else gets pads. He had like the full little like shorty shorts with the pads like go up over like your hips.
They're like pantaloons.
Even his like shoes fully looked like they were just like skates minus the skate.
The blades. Yeah, they were like blades off.
Pointed, and then like I was like, that doesn't look like easy to like run around in.
No, he almost had like a wedge, and I was like, let me tell you, like wedges went out of style for a reason. They're very uncomfortable to wear.
Let alone have an entire wrestling match in.
Yeah,
it was the first time I've seen The Goon. I can't imagine we're going to see much of him. There wasn't a lot memorable. Other than he was just a hockey player, period.
He was on brand though. He had like he had the hair, the fit, the shoes, the everything. And like I wrote down Flipping the gloves off in the beginning, kind of iconic, because literally I said at like right before it happened, I was like, is he gonna wrestle with those gloves on? And then he literally in one move like
Just
went
like
like
hockey fights, like
yeah, I
throws
was
them
like,
down.
whoa. I was like, honestly, kind of iconic. I'm not gonna lie. Pretty impressive.
So like good on him. But
Yeah.
during that match, we had on commentary Stone Cold Steve Austin, who the night prior at the pay-per-view had a match with Mark Miro, and he was just in rare form, talking
Mm-hmm.
about just opening up cans of whoop ass, just getting things done. Of course, just busting Vince McMahon's balls, which is just a prelude of the next 2 years to come.
I really can't wait for McMahon's like villain origin story to like really take off. Like I'm really looking forward to that. Because doesn't he
Oh,
go through like a major
so yeah, so eventually he's gonna like remove himself from being on
a commentator?
commentary, and he becomes like the WWE's like biggest villain. Uh,
I literally cannot wait to see that because he's such a like Captain Morals right now.
right, exactly. Which is
Like,
just like
don't talk about her like that. Like he's so
like yeah, you're like righteous uncle, like, and you're just like I didn't
yes.
ask for this.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, his villain story really is really one for the books.
I can't
So
wait.
it's something to look forward to. We also during this match had a phone call with Jake the Snake Roberts,
Which I knew would be juicy.
which of course, because knowing the parties involved, we knew exactly how this was going to go. Jake the Snake Roberts has been out on like injury for the last like couple weeks. So they like call him up just to see like how he's doing, and of course Jerry the King Lawler cannot help himself. This man didn't miss a beat to just start. He what I have written down that he was like, oh, what are you like sick with, like barthritis, like I was just like, sure. And then
Sure.
he pulls out a bottle of Jim Beam and says that that's Jake the Snake Roberts like tag team partner, just being the unrelenting piece of garbage that he is. Like just cannot help himself.
No.
But my highlight of that match, my favorite moment is when the goon goes to like have a like a running start like outside of the ring, and slips on all of the icing that is left
Yes.
over from the birthday cake in the previous segment, and just absolutely eats it into the
The
steel
steel stairs.
like and you were like, was that supposed, I was like, no baby, I don't, that was not supposed to happen.
And if you looked at the icing on the ground, it almost looked like someone tried to clean it with like a broom. Like there was like minimal effort into the cleaning of the icing. And I was like, they better get out there with the mop miss thing and clean that up before the next match because that he really ate it. And I thought I was like, maybe that was a part of like I was like, was
No,
that a part of like the joke or the skit or something? And you were like, no, he like fully slipped on the icing.
no, yeah, because it was just so awkward, and you could tell he like tried to catch himself before just absolutely nailing the
Oh
like
my
ring steps.
God.
And like there, one of them was like one of the commentators, maybe it was like Jerry, but he was just like, oh, like he slipped on the ice. I thought like hockey players like weren't supposed to do that. And like the other one was just like, it's icing. And like it was just so stupid. Like,
Oh my God.
but
I
it
didn't even
tickled
notice
me.
that. That is
um
so funny.
And then the next match we had Freddie Joe Floyd, never heard of before this very moment,
No,
versus your boy Mankind.
I can't.
Yeah, we are setting up for the Boiler Room Brawl, which is
Can't
going to
wait.
happen at SummerSlam and was like officially announced today, like during the show. So that's going to be just absolute mayhem. I'm very excited to get to review that one. But we're building up to it. So we have Mankind facing Freddie Joe Floyd, who honestly, if you told me that the goon had just took off his like his like hockey gear and just put on like a wrestling like a wrestling like
Oh
tights,
my
I would have
God.
been none the wiser, not even a
None.
little bit. So
Oh my God. I didn't even think about that. Now that you said it, that is so true.
they had like essentially like the same haircut. They had
Yeah.
the same build from what I like could tell.
Yeah.
And they were both jobbing. So I wanted you kind of mentioned like while we were watching the episode, like who are all of these like new people, are like people
Yeah.
that we've like never really seen before. They
Hmm.
are what are like is termed in like the wrestling business is called like jobbers. They're essentially like enhancement talent. Their job is to make the other person look really good. So like, do they
Oh.
have a lot of like backstory to them? No. They're not, they're never going to be like the stars of the show. But
Mm.
their job is essentially to just take a beating, because they're either like early on in their careers or like they're just not as like pronounced like wrestlers. So their job is to just make sure that the other person looks like $1 million. And
Wow.
since we're like now coming out of one pay-per-view and they're announcing matches for the following pay-per-view, we want the people that are going to be kind of highlighted on the show to look as strong as possible. So that's why
Oh,
we kind
okay.
of had like an episode where it was kind of a lot of jobbers. uh
Word. That makes a lot more sense to me now. Because I was like, why? I was like, why is Goldust fighting Barry Horowitz? Like, how did we get here? Like, he was
hmm,
literally just fighting The Undertaker. Like, I was so confused, like, how we
right,
got here.
fully, yeah.
Yeah.
So but back to the mankind match. We had, I wanted to comment because this was like the first time they like really got like up in his face. Like like there was a lot of close-ups of like mankind's like face.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to get your kind of just what is it about this man that's just like is an absolute no for you?
I don't know what it is. He makes my skin crawl, which I know is his like obviously
MO.
that he's nailing it then because that's I feel like yeah, his whole MO. And like I said, I don't know if I said it last week, but I was like the music that plays when he enters and exits literally sounds like if the elevator from The Shining had elevator music. Like it's just so
Mm,
creepy.
right.
And it just like and the screaming, like the high-pitched animal screaming that happens out of nowhere and then he's just like pulling his hair out. Like I don't know, it's literally so jarring because he's so confusing and so like you just don't know what he's gonna do. And like the mandible claw is the most vile, horrifying thing I've ever seen anyone do to anyone. And I just kept going like, get your hand away from his mouth, get your hand away from his mouth, because and you know it's coming, obviously,
Oh yeah.
because Freddie Joe Floyd is not going to stand a chance against mankind. Though I do want to have a moment of silence for his boots. They were beautiful. Um
That's fantastic.
and they were like fabulously powder blue, love them. But obviously I knew he wasn't going to win
Right.
against mankind, but still I was like I just was dreading seeing it because it's so jarring to watch a man put like a leather gloved set of fingers in another one's mouth and like I don't know. It's
And this
just
time, like he did it from like so
the robe. Oh, I
yeah,
forgot about
Freddie Joe
this.
Floyd was like up on the ropes and he just like shoved his mouth like fingers in his mouth and like pulled him off of the top rope. Like it
It
was
was
like
so violent.
far more intense than like it usually is.
Yeah,
But we're building up to a not typical like the Boiler Room Brawl is not going to be like a wrestling match. Like they're not going to be like doing
it's a
holds.
brawl.
Like they're going to be absolutely like beating the holy hell out of each other. So, something to look forward to.
Can't wait.
All right, so
Me and
next
my
on the
girls in the boiler room just watching boys fight.
the girls room. So like what you call it? So oh my god. Um the next match on the card was Goldust versus Barry Horowitz. And during this match, we had Brian Pillman on commentary, which
hmm
they have not done a very good job of like explaining Brian Pillman because he's injured currently.
Mm-hmm.
So they just kind of have him doing a lot of chit chatting, a lot of chirping.
Gabby
Uh,
Gabby. Mm-hmm.
but like he's such another like one of those dudes who's just very strange. So like I don't know. It's just like uh, he just seems like out of place currently because he's not
Yeah.
currently like in a feud with anybody or like doing anything. So I feel like they're just kind of finding ways to just kind of stick him on the show to keep him like, pretty relevant, but I don't know. Well, I'm hoping he gets not injured soon so that we can kind of see him because like he's a really good wrestler, but you have to
Mm.
like kind of know that aspect of him to like
Mm-hmm.
put up with the crazy.
Right. Yeah, right now it feels a little bit like it's the end of the meeting for like the marketing or the planning team. And they're like, okay, is that everything? They're like, oh, what about whatever his
Right.
name is? They're like, what if he commentates the Gold Dust match? All right, cool, put him in. Like that's kind
Right.
of what it feels like because it didn't make sense that he was there, really.
Right, exactly. Because he's not feuding with Goldust and he's not feuding.
He's clearly not feuding with Barry.
Yeah, I think
So
he's probably just feuding with like the voices in his mind.
I was gonna say he's more like he's feuding with himself, but and his demons, but that's just
You know,
me.
here nor there. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
During this match, we also had Mark Miro did like a little segment where
Uh-huh.
it was very much like a coming to Sable's like
Honors rest.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Which is, fine because that's the basis of the entire feud is
Mm,
essentially like, and I literally had to stop myself from being like the only like very interesting thing about Mark Miro is Sable.
period. Honestly, and whoever does his outfits, love them too, but
Right, like
like
he's really good in the ring, but like I have little to no interest in Mark Miro. Like I
100%
don't, yeah. So
agree.
I was like, sorry, I'm so sorry.
Sorry. Sorry.
Um, But yeah, so it was just kind of like your standard like "Don't come after my woman" promo.
And she was looking
So
like withering and beautiful at his shoulder, just like
of course, just like
so
um,
good.
and so that is going to be leading up to SummerSlam as well because Goldust is going to be taking on Mark Miro.
hmm
So that's kind of where they're both going to end up. And then we had a like just another scathing promo from Jim Cornette in regards to Vader, who is going to be challenging Shawn Michaels for the WWF championship at SummerSlam as well.
Word.
So could I tell you any one single thing that Jim Cornette said? No, because that man is just the master of taking one really long breath and just going.
Mm,
That man just is absolutely it has like an uncanny ability to just kind of talk himself like into a stupor. Like
yes.
like he is just does not stop talking long enough to just like I don't know if he ever like knows what the point is. He
hmm
just is going to just shout long enough until you just like believe him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It literally he is a like a triple bypass waiting to happen in my mind because he's just like so I'm like breathe please and like I feel like you're gonna have a heart attack like and he's like sweating. I'm like I don't know like I feel like a cardiac episode is about to occur like I'm very nervous but he's also so good because I'm like I don't know what you're saying but I'm listening to you
Enthralled.
yell it at me. Yeah.
No, exactly. And I think that's going to be a pretty interesting match because I just love when Shawn Michaels just fights like bigger dudes. Like I think it's just going to be a good one, cuz
Yeah.
Vader is very athletic for a big man, and I think that's going to work well with the fact that Shawn is so athletic. So I'm excited to kind of see where that feud goes. Um, because really we haven't seen which we talked about last week or the week prior, we haven't seen much of Vader as far as like him being like an intimidating like force. It's really
Yeah.
just been like one of the three stooges, and like
Yes.
I feel like that's not his role.
Yeah, actually now that you mention I feel like this is the first time I've seen him like by himself.
Right. So I'm excited to see that kind of unfold. All right, and now we are at the main event. So we had the Smoking Guns, Billy and Bart Gunn, who also did a promo, which they should have just let Sonny talk.
Yeah.
Because it was like as soon as they opened their mouth, like it was just giving like himbo. Like, and I was just like, I no longer felt that they were threatening. I just kind of felt like they were Kronk
No
from the
swear. You're like,
Emperor's New Groove.
oh, okay. Like,
Right.
okay.
You're just like, oh, you're just dumb. You're
I
just
just wanted to go, who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
exactly. So like it wasn't the promo that they probably thought they were cutting, but it's fine.
Yeah.
But we
Good
get
try, boys. Good try.
no, exactly. But then we get into the match, and it's a lot of Shawn Michaels in the beginning chasing around Sonny. We get a pretty good like back and forth between like the two teams, and this was like kind of the only match that wasn't like a squash match essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So is my favorite match of the night.
Yeah.
So okay, because it was just like it was the only one that kind of you didn't really know which way it was like going to go. Like, were they gonna put the tag team titles on the two of them, like in addition to the Intercontinental and WWF title,
Mm.
which they've like done with teams like previously, but they just kind of only started teaming like a couple weeks ago, so it would have been a little weird. But yeah, it was like a pretty good like decent back and forth. Shawn Michaels is of course phenomenal, just like selling when he's getting like double teamed, and that one like toss into the turnbuckle where he like flips over and like outside. He's
Literally
just so
insane.
good at it. Like, it looks like he's like in a car crash. Like you're just
Yeah.
like, you're just like, are you okay? I don't think so, but like, let's keep going. But what was exciting about this match was we see the debut of Farooq.
That's
That's
his
in
name.
yes.
I want you guys to know I asked Xavier 70 times who this person was while I was watching because I screeched at the top of my lungs, like, who is this? And he was like, I'll tell you, eventually. So this is huge. What is
So yeah, literally your words verbatim were, "Who is the space Trojan?" I wrote it down because I was so just like, what? But when you look at it, it makes absolute like the most sense. He's if gladiators were happening like
in Star Trek? Like,
right, it would be this man. This man would have come out of the woodworks. Um, so yeah, so this is the first time we're like gonna see Farooq. He's going to play kind of an integral part of a faction that's like to come. A faction
we
is just like
love a
a
faction.
yeah, just a group, a little gaggle of wrestlers. But this is kind of his like origin story, and he gets right into it with Ahmed Johnson. And they don't go into it on this like episode, but during that I like attack, like he seriously injures Ahmed Johnson during that.
Wait, really?
So something I don't like, I will figure it out next week, I think for sure, but something like ruptured that like should not have clearly because
Like
it
an organ?
yes. So he ends
No.
up getting like rushed to the hospital and has to have like emergency surgery, and like it's a whole thing. So yeah, it was not, I mean, I'm sure that wasn't how it was supposed to go, but
Is that why it ended the way it did? It
so
ended like randomly, like
very
in the middle of
jarring.
things.
Right. So I
Oh
think
my
because
God.
like Shawn Michaels was very like much like standing in between the two of them, and I think he was like trying to cover for the fact that like he was like hurt on the floor. And if you notice, like there was a bunch of like kind of like older dudes like walking like back from the backstage area like down to like where Ahmed was like laying, and I think that's
Yeah.
because he was like injured, so they're trying to like assess like what's up, what kind of like help they can get him, like how much time they have left on TV. So so yeah, so he ends up getting like injured, and they get into like a the feud just gets heated because like now he has like a legitimate reason to be like, F this dude, like you
Oh
like
my
put me on the
God.
shelf. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that's why the
The
ending was like
tea.
very chaotic.
Because I
Which
was
what
like that was such a weird way to end it. Oh my God, that's crazy. So wait, I have a question then. Do like wrestlers, not to be like, oh, this is insensitive. Do they have like a safe word? Like how do
so
you know? Like,
so basically it's the referee in the referee in the match, like essentially like their job is one to like, you know, make whatever is in the ring look good, and like make the wrestlers like follow rules and blah blah blah. But they're also like their job is to ensure the safety of like the wrestlers. So
wow.
they are usually hooked up with like an earpiece
Okay.
that is hooked up to people in the back.
Okay.
And essentially, like you'll see in like wrestling matches, if you ever see like a referee go like with an X with their hands,
Mm-hmm.
that means like someone's hurt, and they need to like figure out an ending for the match like now. So yeah, so if you ever like, you'll catch it like later on. I don't probably and there will be specific matches where I'll point it out where I know that wrestlers have been injured. But yeah, so they'll signal, and then they'll like either have to like end the match like then and there, or they'll like come up with like a creative way to end the match. But yeah, so it's the referee's kind of responsibility to kind of relay that information.
Whoa.
Because you know, like as much as it is like, I don't want to say like scripted, but like as much as the outcomes are like
Preordained.
there we go. I like that
Yeah.
word. You know, they're very much putting on like a stunt show, and people do get hurt doing stunts. Yeah, it's just something that kind of happens that's gonna kind of start this feud. And that's gonna be pretty intense going forward because they are both like big strong dudes. Like
I mean, they're huge.
they're gonna come at each other with like battering rams.
Oh my
So
God. I mean, honestly, if someone ruptured my organ, like it would be on bitch. Like
on
we
site.
got beef for life. Life.
So yeah, honestly. So yeah, that was this episode, like in a nutshell. We kind of already discussed like our favorite episodes, so we're not even like gonna go there. Did you have any other something that like stood out to you that you wanted to like elaborate on? Any questions?
I want to mention because I wrote this down because I thought it perfectly describes me also, but like so Goldust honestly and Marlena like fascinate me because they're the most bizarre people, like, and I don't understand, and every time he comes out too, McMahon is like the two most bizarre, like whatever they say, like
Right.
people. I love that Goldust walks out with a wig and then just like takes it off. Like it literally is just for him to walk out. He's wearing like a long blonde wig and then it's like wig flown. Then he just like gives it to somebody and like it's like wig flown have to fight. Like I was like, I
Ooh.
don't get it. And also the fact that like he's painted head to toe gold, but then he takes his wig off and he's just like bald and like not painted there is
Right.
always funny to me. But they said when Goldust was walking out, a lot of theatrics and very little shenanigans. And I was like, honestly, put that on my tombstone, except there is a lot of shenanigans. I just pretend there's not. But like that was so funny to me.
Dude, they're
Such an
just so
enigma.
weird.
So weird.
And like he's such a like treat though, because it's just like
Oh
such a
yeah.
because like in this like world, there's like so many people that like take themselves like so seriously that like it's fun to just like come across a character that is just like ridiculous for the sake of being ridiculous. Like just
Yep.
somebody who's just sole purpose is to just be like I'm not like other girls. Like
No,
you.
literally, like my whole brand is that I am the most. There is not. I am my own specific brand that's never ever existed and no one's ever thought of before,
Right.
and
No,
it's
exactly.
so weird. And the fact that he has like a partner in crime like Marlena, like did they know each other beforehand and they're like, "Hey, should we do this together?" Or was it like his idea and she was like willing to get on board? Like just
Oh,
so
they're married.
they're married in real life?
Yes, at this point in time, or they will be. I know they are no longer together, but I know
Ooh.
that they were together at
Oh my God, I
like
love the real life tea
I
also.
oh me too.
I
Me
love it.
too. All right, guys. That was this week's episode. Next week is also should be a doozy. We're gonna have the Undertaker versus Stone Cold.
Cannot
Which is the
wait.
second time we're gonna see that combination. But now Stone Cold is kind of like he's starting to ascend kind of into more of a main event player. So we'll see how that goes. We're gonna have Vader versus Mark Miro, which I think will also be pretty interesting.
Mm.
Mostly because I'm either interested to see Goldust if he gets involved in that match. Um,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because he likes to
Yeah.
play like the little head games.
With his little
Um,
like Destiny's Child, like lose my breath dust.
fully just um so and then we're gonna have Psycho Sid versus Justin Hawk Bradshaw, which is going to be just I think very just hard hitting.
Mm.
Because Psycho Sid's a gigantor of a human and Justin Hawk Bradshaw is just like thickums. So like
Ooh.
so yeah, so I think I think it'll be a pretty like interesting episode. I excited to lead up to SummerSlam. That's like one of the big like 4 pay-per-views that WWE has. I know it's WrestleMania, SummerSlam, the Royal Rumble and Survivor Series. So they tend to go a little bit more like all out for the bigger 4 than they do
Heard.
for like your regular like monthly pay-per-views. So the fact that they're already announcing matches the day after the previous pay-per-view is like means that they're going to spend a lot of time like building these like feuds up.
Oh, very exciting. I
All
love when
right.
they really just stir the pot.
All right, guys. Thank you once again for joining us. We will see you next week with another episode of the New to Wrestling podcast. And that's everything. Have a great week.
Bye.